I'm Kirsten. I'm a portrait artist living on the south coast of England. I studied fine art at the Wimbledon School of Art in London, and more recently I provide workshops for schools and universities. I have also been a feature artist in the Artist and Illustrator magazine. In today's lesson we will be drawing a portrait of Lucy, and I will be demonstrating the use of coloured pencils. We're going to be using the colours inspired by Lucy's energy, and I will be talking about my process. So grab your favourite pencils, some paper, and let's get drawing. Hi, welcome. Okay, so here we are. This is Lucy. Today I'm going to be drawing a picture of Lucy using coloured pencils. Those ones here. I'm limiting myself to black, white and two colours. Don't worry if you don't have any coloured pencils, or perhaps you don't have the same coloured pencils. That's completely fine. Just grab what you've got. If you've got graphite pencil, or even if you've got some ink or a biro, just go ahead and grab what you've got, pull up a chair and come draw with me. So I'm using a mixture of pencils today. I've got here a little sample sheet that I've prepared. I've got coloured pencils in a variety of different brands. This is the Luminance, which is a Caran d'Ache, that's a Swiss manufacturer, Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils. These are some of my favourite actually. I find the saturation on the colour is really good, and the feel of the pencil in the hand and the feel of the nib of the pencil on the paper is really satisfying. Here we've got the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, really popular pencils, and I myself find them really waxy actually, but they hold their point much better in my opinion than the Luminance. So depending on what you're going for, something more shaded might be drawing more appropriate to use the Luminance, whereas something made up of lines and that kind of thing, you might want to lean towards the Polychromos, which is going to hold its nib, hold its point for much longer. Then here I've got the Albrecht Dürer, that's also a Faber-Castell brand. This is my preferred brand. I find it's a good balance of the Luminance and the Polychromos, but it's a slightly more cost-effective brand, and it has the added benefit of being water-soluble. So here, this is it on the white paper, or it's a slightly cream paper, and here you can see with the Albrecht Dürer the advantage there that it has of being the water-soluble. I've tried to choose colours as similar as possible. It's really interesting to me to see the different brands take on alizarin crimson, for example, and that's something you want to pay attention to with the brand that you're buying. Perhaps you lean towards more of a vibrant tone, or perhaps you lean more towards a muted dark tone. Something to bear in mind when you're buying your pencils. Something else you might want to bear in mind is how well these pencils can erase. So I have the putty rubber here, and it just really doesn't touch the coloured pencils. They're really difficult to erase actually, so you need to take care when doing a drawing with coloured pencils, in the knowledge that it's going to be tricky to erase easily with a regular pencil eraser. But something I have had great success with is this electric eraser. This might not be something you've come across, or perhaps you're really familiar with this. This one is 10Win. I got this on Amazon. This erases coloured pencil reasonably well. It still doesn't get rid of everything. You can see I've used it here on my ochre and my alizarin crimson. It's a little bit like a dentist's drill, I think. And you can see there I've managed to cut through a nice line, nicer anyway than the plastic eraser that I was using there. So that it can be taken off to a degree. There you go, see? All right. these work fantastically well, by the way, with graphite pencil drawings. Really superb item. If you've not already got one, you just pull out the holder there, and they come with a ton of these little inserts, these tiny eraser inserts, and you just feed it in, push it in place, and you're good to go. They are slightly flexible, so you don't want to have too much extending, otherwise what happens is you get this kind of helicopter of eraser going on, and that's no good. You want just the right level so that you've got a nice stiff edge to work with. Okay, so the other thing I was going to show you was the whites. So because I like to work on a tan paper, I pay close attention to the different brands and how good their whites are. And you can see here the considerable difference in the brands. This Polychromos, which I was saying was a waxier pencil to use, you can see there it's really not very effective on the tan paper, whereas the Luminance, which doesn't hold its point as well, just really creates a fantastic white, really solid, really opaque. The Albrecht Dürer, which is my preferred pencil, also struggles to get a good impact on the tan paper. So I actually today will be using my Albrecht Dürer pencils, but I will be complementing them with a Luminance white. There we are. Because I find it more effective and it gives a more opaque finish. So when I approached this drawing, what I did was I got my pencils and I drew a little swatch of what I thought were all the colours that I could see in this portrait. Now, if I was going to be doing a lengthy portrait, I might use all of these shades, but today, for our quick portrait, I decided to limit myself to just a few colours. And so from this initial swatch, I chose a vibrant palette and a muted palette. And then I considered with Lucy what I see in her, and I'll go into that a little bit as we start drawing. But ultimately, I decided to go for a vibrant palette. So we will be using the Albrecht Dürer Fuchsia, the Cobalt Turquoise, black, and then that Luminance white. Okay, so I'm actually going to begin with the white. I've got here this picture of Lucy that I can just blow up. It is quite a pixelated photograph, unfortunately, but I still really, really love the image, so I thought it was worth studying this one. So I'm just going to be getting some general shapes on the page. And this is just an initial layout to try and get a flavour of where Lucy's head is going to fall on my page. So something I really like to do when I'm looking at my subject is really try and link the colours into what I see when I look at the person's face. And for Lucy, I was really attracted to this vitality that she has. This is one of the reasons why I decided to go for the vibrant colours. I see, I see a strength. I see she's giving off to me kind of CEO vibes, you know. I see her as a leader, someone I would definitely follow. I think she's someone who doesn't take a lot of nonsense. That's what I see in the picture. Someone quite creative. I'm seeing the pink hair here. It's easier to see in this digital one. It looks like she's got actually another shade of hair going on here, maybe a purple or an indigo, something like that. And I'm seeing obviously this pink, or maybe it's a faded red, something like that there. And that really appealed to me. Yeah, it's kind of don't mess with me vibes is what she was giving to me. I definitely see her as someone in control of what she wants. Let's switch to the black. And yeah, that kind of vitality really led me to choosing the more vibrant colours. I'm just going to pull up a chair now. I was doing this standing up so that I was keeping a distance and trying to keep my arm a little looser and freer. I'm just going to sit down now and take a little bit more time. But this is a quick portrait we're doing today, so I'm wanting to make it quite loose, quite free, and just get a sense of the character of this person. I might keep it just to the features of the face. I'm going to keep my marks quite gestural. Just trying to get a sense of the overall shape. Bear with me. Yeah, so I was thinking kind of strong, elegant, charismatic. And it's interesting, after I had these thoughts, I went back to Andy Lee Fisher, who took this portrait photograph for some more information. And this is how I discovered that her name is Lucy. And in fact, she's a creative producer, which really, really fits with my impression of her and what I was seeing in the face. So I was really pleased about that, really delighted that that comes across very much in the expression, in the choices she's made about this clothing. You know, it's not fussy. She's not selected something glamorous or pretty. It's functional and no nonsense. And that's what I was seeing when I looked at her. So I went on to, it has quite a long gap here between her nose and her lip. I'm just trying to figure out where that is at the moment. I'm so sorry if I bang the camera with my head. Yes, I went on to her website, and this is what Lucy says about herself. She says, "Hi, I'm Lucy, producer of arts and culture events around the UK. My driving passion is developing opportunities for telling stories with grit and bite." So I loved that. I thought that was fantastic. Really gives me an idea of her character and something that I want to capture in this portrait, that sense of grit and bite. Okay, I think I've got the lights and the darks mapped out where I want them to be. A sense of the composition. I'm happy with the placement on the page. So I'm going to start reaching for my colours now. She says, I'm particularly interested in giving a voice to groups and individuals who sometimes find themselves at the margins of society, and I do this through the events and productions that I shape and devise. So a really confident statement there, really giving a sense of her passion, what drives her. Absolutely love that. I'm just reaching for my fuchsia now and trying to just get some quick colour down. This would be something I would do if I was in a cafe, something like that, and just spotted an interesting character in the cafe and wanted to just grab a quick, my bracelets, sorry about my bracelet, grab a quick character study of them. I would reach for a couple of pencils and just try and get some quick lines down. Often in a cafe, something like that, you don't have a lot of time. You don't know if your subject's going to stay or move on. You just have to grab something quick and get a flavour, try and get a flavour of who they are, or who you think they are, what they're saying to you. So something I wanted to introduce you to while I'm on with you guys today is this fantastic app that I'm using that I discovered recently called Notanizer. I'm sure some of you will be familiar with the idea of Notan. So my understanding is that Notan is a Japanese device that means light and dark, very similar to Tenebrism, if you're familiar with Tenebrism, which is a more extreme version of chiaroscuro, that happiness and balance between the light and the dark. So it's a kind of yin-yang concept of making the balance of light and dark just really pleasing to the eye. So this is my Notanizer app. Here she is in the Notan, which is that pure black and white. And you can slide the bar. I got this on the App Store for Apple. You can slide the bar to where you feel is a pleasing balance, like that yin-yang balance. You've achieved that perfect marriage of pure whites and pure black. I like to take it to a 3 or a 4 level Notan. So then you can play around with your whites and your greys. This is such a fantastic tool for identifying really where those light and dark shades on your portrait actually are. Perhaps this is something you struggle with. Sometimes I struggle with this. It can be a fantastic tool, especially if you've not got a lot of time, to just identify where those lights and darks are on your image, or perhaps you want to exaggerate where those lights and darks are on your image. You can take a colour photograph that is not the case here, but something that's shot in daylight, bright sunshine, has really not got a lot of different values. And you can take it to its purest form and really create something quite moody, quite dramatic. It's a great device as well for avoiding drawing the entire face. So here it's showing me where the background, taking it to the extreme, obviously I can see a background here, but taking it to the extreme, I could still create a really lovely likeness of Lucy and absolutely ignore the left-hand side of the image entirely, which gives you a more interesting composition. I'm still capturing the likeness of Lucy, but perhaps just drawing this section of the face that's in the light. So that's something you might want to consider. I know that when I was at university, they instructed us to squint, look at the page, look at your source photo through squinted eyes. I definitely found that a very helpful technique. But actually, as I've got older, and particularly since I started wearing reading glasses, I don't find that technique terribly helpful anymore. I actually struggle with identifying the lights and the darks on an image. So I was delighted to find this app. It's been fantastically helpful. All right. I'm just now pressing a lot harder. I really want to make this a gestural piece, and I'm conscious that I'm being sucked in too much into these delicate shading type of marks, so I really want to avoid that. It's not something I want to do today. I just want to make this really, really a quick study. So I'm really nervous of getting too tempted and too drawn into those familiar marks. I want to make it a little bit more scratchy, a little bit more messy. Not reaching for that turquoise shade yet. I'm sure you all have your favourite shades. Turquoise, definitely one of my favourite colours. Most of my artworks include a bit of turquoise in there. They remind me of holidays as a child in the Mediterranean. And I think as part of establishing your signature, your style, is picking a colour that you're especially drawn to. I love a pink, I love a turquoise. You might just have one favourite colour or something that comes to mind. And you might like to use the colour wheel. This is taken from my Schminke watercolour palette. So if I was using the turquoise here, or here, and I know that I'm using this beautiful fuchsia, very similar to the magenta that I have here, or the opera rose, perhaps somewhere between the two, I could go for a beautiful yellow to complement these shades. And see how they're forming those thirds? And you could argue, actually, that a tone of that yellow is, in fact, the colour of the paper that I'm working on today. So these three colours should go together really nicely. If you're not sure what to complement your favourite colour with, you can reach for that colour wheel or create your own colour wheel and use that to help you, to guide you. Trying to avoid too much pink around the eyes because I don't want to make her eyes look sore or bloodshot. So I will be pulling in my turquoise for the eyes in a little while. I think I'm going to be reaching for that now. We're about halfway through our drawing. I'm going to start trying to create some of this shirt now, just loosely, not giving too much control to my pencil. Just giving a sense there of what she's wearing. This shoulder much higher than this shoulder. Make sure you pay attention to that. We've got this shoulder kind of dropping down at an angle. This one much higher. I really like that. I think it lends to this slightly androgynous look she has, which I find quite gorgeous. All right, I'm going to work through with my shadows now in the turquoise colour, trying to look at it in a very two-dimensional way, just focusing on the shapes that I'm seeing, not paying too much attention to what is an eyebrow, what is a shade. What is a cheek? Where's it going? Rather, I'm just seeing this as a map of values. So you can see how I've used the pink as that mid-tone. Hopefully that's coming through in the, yeah, that's picking up. I'm just hoping that's coming through and you can see that. Using that pink as the mid-tone. Oh, sorry, that's my that's my pencil. This turquoise as that sort of darker, shadowy area. Really not outlining that nose there at all. Actually starting to wonder if I needed the black. Maybe I could have just gone for a three-colour, a whiter colour and a mid-tone colour and a darker colour. Could have avoided the black altogether. But we'll see where we go with it. She's got a really fascinating lip colour. That might sound a bit strange, but on the photograph that I'm seeing, let's go back to it here. I don't know if you can see, it's quite a purple, plummy lip. And she's doing this pursing, this particular smile that she has. I see this on her website as well. She has this particular smile where her lips are quite pushed together. You see she has this shade here. I'm trying to put that in. And then she has this kind of tone here, or this shadow, so just putting that in. But yes, they're not, given that she's got this pink hair, they're not terribly pink. So I'm actually drawing them in blue. And I think that's fine. This jawline kind of disappears. It's not clear at all. I can see where I think it should be, but I love that it's just in shadow and actually really difficult to see. I might try and get rid of the ear. Let's see if we can get rid of that. It's doing that helicopter that I was warning you about. So you've really got to make the nib super short, actually. There we go. See how I have more control of it now? I'm not going to get rid of it completely, but just want to take out the focus that it had there. I'm loving this here where it just whoosh, swoops into nothing. So we've got the light catching here on the on that bit of hair. Just got some hair coming up here, which the light is also catching. And then there's this piece here, which I'm going to put in, showing that she's got this shorter hair here, perhaps an undercut that's growing out. And then she's got this much longer section falling over the top of it. Love that. Not too worried about the hair, making it super accurate. Definitely gives you the sense of where it's flowing, and trying now to complement these hard, strong lines with some similar marks at the top of the image, just trying to mirror that so that it's balanced. We'll get some darkness around the eyes as well in a minute. A little bit of cross-hatching. Some of that pink on the nose. I'm not going to define where this line is because honestly, I don't see it. So maybe just leaving a gap is, leaving it all the same tone is enough. It's got this gorgeous super white little triangle in there. Now she's got this kind of line of concentration here and here. I'm going to put this brow in as well. Brow comes quite low actually. All right, I'm going to start on those eyes. And what I'm seeing here is a dark shadow at the top, the iris, and then kind of a gap where the waterline is, and then that lower lash. Then we've got really it connects into the brow there. So same this side. We've got that lash, and notice how we've got the lash line here, which changes into the crease of that lid here, and then the line that comes down to that tear duct. So something like that. Put irises in, just double check that she's not wonky-eyed. That's looking okay. Don't want wonky eyes. All right. And just put some shading in there. I think I'll put in where my white is. Okay, that white pencil's not sharp enough. Just reaching for my sharpener. Love this sharpener, Faber-Castell. So it's a little travel sharpener, just slides in like that so that you've got those blades protected, which I really love. And I've had this sharpener for a really long time, and what I love is that it gives you a really long extended point to your pencil, so I definitely recommend that. I do love the Faber-Castell brand. I have a lot of their papers and pencils. Sharpener's fantastic. I did have before that the Staedtler sharpeners. I can't see one easily, but they are a red and yellow and black packaging where you put the pencil in the top and it goes into the main cartridge of the pencil sharpener. But actually, I'm not a fan of those anymore. I've found that the blades dull quite quickly, and it doesn't have that nice cover to go over the blades when you're traveling. It does have the cartridge to collect all the sharpenings, which is nice. But I found that the blades need replacing quicker. I mean, I've had this, I think probably 3 years now, and I still haven't had to replace the blades, so that's fantastic. I definitely do find that the blades are lasting longer on this one. Just taking a bit more time now that I've got that nice sharp point, to do some of the details, including the highlight on the lip. And you can see here actually what I did there is I took it to a black and white. And that's definitely a lovely technique to see your lights and shades. But for me personally, just the extreme of that four-level no tan, just I find so useful, really works for me in identifying those light and shade areas at a glance when you're in a hurry, and particularly if, like me, you've begun to struggle with finding those areas quickly. And as I say, a great technique for creating a dramatic, moody, it's more visually interesting composition. To me, that's more visually interesting than that. I love that extreme lighting. Just very chiaroscuro, very Italian. A nice little technique. He's really pressing hard now on the edge of that nose, just to give the point of the nose some definition there. I think that whenever I draw a female face, I'm always slightly drawing myself as well. I think that comes from just knowing ourselves better than we know anyone else, being mostly familiar with our own faces. You know, we see our own face over and over again in the mirror every day and become so familiar with it. Sometimes it's an over-familiarity with our own faces, and we inevitably pull that into the portraits that we draw. I don't think we can help that. All right. So we're just coming into the last sort of 10-15 minutes of this image now. Just giving myself a really nice, that's going to break, a really nice fine point on the black. And I'm going to come in now and define some of the details. Haha, told you. Perhaps adding something of what I first saw when I looked at this photo, that grit that she talks about on her website, that is her passion. Hang on, let me grab what she said again. Telling stories with grit and bite. Love that. So that's what I've got to keep in the back of my mind as I'm drawing this portrait. That's what I'm hoping to portray. I think that really, I would say that photorealistic portraits don't really do very much for me. That's a strong statement, perhaps, but I like it when I can see the artist marks. I like it when I can see the materials they've used and something of their process in the final result. And I think that you could say, just as a dancer uses their moves as their language, so all dancers dance differently depending on what they're trying to communicate, what they're trying to say, how their own body works, and how they express their passions. And you could say the same for a musician, right? The musician's note Notes are their language. The way they play, the way they bring expression to a piece is their language. So with me, my marks are my language. And they're not going to be the same as the next person's language. It's going to be unique to me. And I think it's really important as artists to embrace that and really embrace your own language, your own style, your own way of communicating things, using your language to express what you want to express. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's what I like seeing in people's portraits, is their interpretation, their language. And then that's where their style comes from, and their little unique take on the world, really. And that's a beautiful thing to see. I don't think we should ever try and imitate other people's work, or to me that's like denying your own wonderful language and take on the world. So I hope that gives you the confidence and the courage to never be afraid to embrace the marks that you like to make. Do it in your own way and be happy with what comes out. Especially if we're having fun like this, just trying to capture someone's spirit and personality on paper. Just switching back to my pink now, which was what I used right at the very kind of start after that white. Just bringing in some stronger tones in that pink now. Gorgeous. Loving this portrait. Having so much fun. This is definitely very similar to the kind of thing that I would create outside. I love to take my pencils with me to festivals and venues, theatre, the park, cafes. I always throw a little pencil carrier in my backpack and use that to just capture really interesting people that I see when I'm out. Love doing that. I think I've got here, I can show you. So here's my current one that I shove in my backpack whenever I'm going out. This just has some fine liners. I usually have a pencil in there. This is my current colours. These are the Caran d'Ache Aquarelle crayons that are water soluble. I've got here some Faber-Castell brush pens for the shadows. I've got my little aqua pens. This is just a black chalk marker. And I will typically grab 3 or 4 coloured pencils and some graphites in there to complement the colours of the season that I've chosen. And that goes really nicely into a backpack. So I just generally will throw that in wherever I'm heading off to. You can always capture something, even if you only have an hour or even if you only have a few minutes, and then maybe finish, take a photo of what you see and then finish, throw it into the Notanizer app and finish it at home. I might put some of this shirt colour in. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm liking that, kind of balances that turquoise. Fantastic. Just give her an idea of where the back of her head is, somewhere around there. Now I feel like the ear needs to come back in. Fantastic. We could be nearly there. Let me just stand up. I'm quite happy with that. I feel like I've got a reasonable likeness, and definitely something of that character that I was trying to capture right at the start. A little bit more shadow needed on that eye, I think, perhaps, and I've taken this shadow too heavily, I would say, as compared to the shading that I can see here. So I'm just going to see if I can take some of that up. Just gently take it up. Just a little bit. Yeah, happy with that. Filling in some lashes there. I feel like I've not got that triangle here on the nose. Yeah, that's better. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm fairly happy with that now. So there we are. 4 pencils. I used just a really basic rubber there, nothing special. The electronic eraser, I used my pencil sharpener. We used the Notanizer app, and there we are. There's the finished portrait. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see what you produce, and I'll see you next time.